Pochita, aka the Chainsaw Devil, embodies the fear of chainsaws and was once the infamous Chainsaw Man before fusing with Denji's heart. After barely surviving a battle with the four Horsemen and Weapon Devils, Pochita was left in a weakened state, where he turned into a small, adorable dog-like creature with a chainsaw protruding from his head. But his true devil form, dubbed the Hero of Hell, is a massive humanoid figure with 4 arms, each ending in chainsaws, plus another on his head. When Denji saved his life, Pochita formed a bond with him, and this bond defines much of his character. He willingly sacrifices independence to become Denji's heart in order to save him from dying, turning him into a hybrid and granting him the ability to transform into Chainsaw Man to fulfill a promise born from their mutual trust. As Denji's heart, Pochita retains his dog-like form, but without the chainsaw on its head. Instead, he has a cord that hangs out of Denji's chest. Whenever the cord is pulled, chainsaws rev out of his head and arms to transform into Chainsaw Man. In his true form, Pochita's overwhelming strength often leads to unintentional harm, like his infamous burger joint rampage, where his inability to control his power resulted in accidental deaths. But what makes Pochita truly terrifying is his unique ability to erase devils, by devouring them and wiping their concepts from existence, although the erasure process can also be partial. For example, after partially consuming the War Devil, the idea of war still exists, but no wars have occurred since. He can also literally vomit up devils he's consumed to bring their concepts back into existence, and he gets to decide which ones he spits out, like when he brought back the Snow Devil and Bitterness Devil to help Denji remember those concepts during a tough moment. It's still a bit of a mystery whether Pochita can regurgitate any devil he's ever eaten, or just the ones he's recently devoured. His concept erasing ability is so feared that it caused international conflict, with powerful figures like Makima needing to manipulate the world's perception to weaken him. This led to Chainsaw Man being loved worldwide, causing his power to weaken as devils are strengthened by their fear. Even in his hybrid form, Pochita remains a near-invincible powerhouse. His chainsaws extend into chains, allowing him to grab and pull enemies towards him, while his regeneration is so advanced that he can completely reform his body just from a heart, even after extreme damage such as re-entry burns from space. Despite his brutal abilities, Pochita uses his power selectively, only targeting devils that pose a real threat to humanity or Denji's dreams. It's hard to believe that the fear of chainsaws would produce such a powerful devil, but it's been theorized in the story that chainsaws once represented something else that was partially erased or forgotten in time. The Darkness Devil is a primal devil who embodies humanity's primal fear of the dark. This is an innate fear that exists with every single human and even the very earliest humans, which alludes to its incredible power. Serving as the main threat of the International Assassins arc, this devil is insanely powerful, intelligent, and brutally efficient at eliminating anything it sees as a threat. During the chaotic Hell encounter, the Darkness Devil instantly established itself as a force of nature, as it completely dismantled a team of devil hunters and assassins, dismembering and defeating characters like Tolka, Kusakabe, Beam, Quan Chi, Tamaoki, and the Violence Fiend. Even Denji in his chainsaw form couldn't stand up to its overwhelming power. It inflicted severe injuries on Aki and the Angel Devil, and even when Makima showed up to confront it, the Darkness Devil held its ground, wounding her before the Hell Devil transported everyone back. As a Primal Devil, the Darkness Devil has never experienced death, as humanity has no means of attack that could kill a Primal Fear. It thrives in the dark where it can regenerate from any injury. Its abilities include manipulating darkness itself, summoning bisected astronaut corpses, and conjuring a blade with bells that cause anyone it strikes to hemorrhage while speaking in an unknown language. Santa Claus struck a deal to deliver Denji's heart to Hell in exchange for a fragment of the Darkness Devil's flesh. This gave Santa Claus insane power, allowing her to manipulate darkness and enhance her abilities. The Darkness Devil's abilities can even fully nullify regeneration. It permanently dismembered Angel and caused Aki to lose an arm. However, some characters like Kobeni and Power were able to recover from its attacks, so the permanence of this ability isn't very clear. Interestingly, its power seems to weaken in the presence of light. Denji managed to defeat the darkness-powered Santa Claus by lighting himself on fire, producing enough light to counteract her abilities. Still, as a Primal Devil, the Darkness Devil itself is likely far beyond being killed by such tactics. Makima, the Control Devil, embodies the fear of control and was one of the four Horsemen. As the Chief Cabinet Secretary's personal devil hunter, she played a critical role in the Japanese government and took Denji in as her, quote, pet. She kept her true devil identity hidden by posing as a human contracted with a devil. After Aki's death, Makima dropped her friendly act and revealed her darker side to Denji. She openly admitted she was a necessary evil, a weapon for the Japanese government, just like how the Gun Devil is under the control of the US government. Fascinated by the hero of hell, Makima was obsessed with his ability to erase devils from existence by consuming them. Her goal was to bring Chainsaw Man under her control, and use his powers to create a world without fear, death, or even bad movies. However, her true wish was simpler, to have a happy life with Pochita like a family, something she could never have as the Control Devil, who struggles to form equal relationships. Makima's powers as a devil were as terrifying as they were versatile. She could control anyone she saw as beneath her, from humans to devils, animals, and even fiends. Victims of her control lost memories of their actions while under her influence. She could even summon and channel the powers of those she controlled, including deceased individuals, using chains connected to her body. This allowed her to form a squad of hybrid fighters, including former enemies like Rize, Quan Chi, and Katana Man, who became completely loyal to her. Makima's control wasn't limited to people. She could use rats, birds, and other small animals to spy on conversations worldwide, even in hell. She could also travel by merging with swarms of rats, reappearing wherever they gathered. Her ability to project an invisible force allowed her to crush her targets, cause internal damage at a mere glance, or even destroy enemies from a distance using sacrificial rituals. She uses this technique from shrines, requiring a target's name and a human sacrifice, leaving no trace of damage except for the destruction of her target. Her contract with the Japanese Prime Minister made her nearly immortal, as any fatal damage she suffered was transferred as an illness or injury to a random citizen of Japan. This allowed her to survive being shot in the head multiple times, and even withstand attacks from the Gun Devil. However, Denji ended her reign of control when he hit her with a chainsaw imbued with Power's blood, and later consumed her remains. After her death, Makima reincarnated as Nayuta, the new incarnation of the Control Devil. Kishibe entrusts Nayuta to Denji, hoping he could raise her as a kinder, more compassionate version of her past self. Nayuta shares some of Makima's powers, like her chain abilities, but with limitations. For example, she can only fire 3 chains at once and struggles to control certain individuals, possibly those tied to Makima's past. Additionally, Nayuta can erase or alter memories, and even tweak sensory perceptions like taste. And really quick, if you guys enjoy informative, straight to the point content like this, covering various anime and manga topics, then consider liking this video and subscribing, and also clicking the link in the description below, and consider buying some merch. It really helps support the channel, and keeps pesky sponsors away from these videos. But anyway, the Famine Devil, also known as Fami, represents the fear of starvation and is one of the 4 horsemen. She keeps a low profile by posing as a student at 4th East High School, while secretly leading the Chainsaw Man Church. Fami has the creepy ability to turn, quote, starving individuals into her pawns, even controlling powerful devils like a Primal Fear. She can also shrink her victims into tiny effigies to transport them easily. However, she admits that these controlled devils can't fight at full strength, and her ability has some undisclosed limitations, so she uses it sparingly. She claims that her ultimate goal is stopping the prophecy of Nostradamus, which predicts an apocalypse brought forth by the Death Devil, in order to usher in the Age of Devils and completely end humanity. To some extent, Fami doesn't want to eradicate humanity, as this would result in the disappearance of her favorite foods. She doesn't hesitate to sacrifice others to achieve her goals. She once trapped Asa and her clubmates in an aquarium, leaving them to starve and suffer, and tried to manipulate Yoru into becoming her pawn, to use as a weapon against the apocalypse. She believes that Yoru, the War Devil, is the only one capable of defeating the Death Devil. To empower Yoru, she unleashed the Falling Devil on Earth, to cause massive destruction and deaths for the sake of reigniting humanity's fear of war, but the plan ultimately failed. Later, she lets hundreds of thousands of civilians fall under the madness-inducing influence of the Fire Devil as part of her bigger scheme of empowering the Chainsaw Devil by ruining Denji's reputation and make Pochita stronger through humanity's fear. Like her late sister Makima, Fami is a master manipulator who works from the shadows, even refusing to fully clue in Haruka, the church's public face. She can also heal others, while boosting their size and strength in the process. She's also capable of teleportation by casually snapping her fingers to leave and appear out of nowhere. The Falling Devil, the second Primal Devil introduced in Chainsaw Man, embodies the primal fear of falling, both the physical act of falling and the emotional spiral into depression. She takes center stage as the main antagonist of the Falling Devil arc, though she's ultimately Fami's pawn. When she appears on Earth, she assembles a body from mangled human corpses, creating a large, feminine, headless human form with hands for feet and a chef's uniform. Her eerie chef persona extends to her speech, as she refers to her attacks as courses, and insists that her victims, quote, enjoy their trauma-filled meals. While she generally avoids killing humans unless they're needed as ingredients for her dishes, her real cruelty lies in breaking her victims mentally by driving them to unalive themselves rather than directly taking their lives. As Fami's pawn, the Falling Devil carries out her orders, even apologizing for failing to fulfill her master's wishes. She's also obedient enough to let herself be turned into a figurine for Fami's convenience. As a Primal Fear, the Falling Devil is essentially unkillable. She regenerates from any damage instantly, without needing blood or stamina. For instance, she's reduced to a pile of gore by gunfire, but is back on her feet in moments, clothes and all. Even when Denji shreds and eats her, she quickly reassembles inside his body and tears him apart in the process. One of her signature abilities is opening the doors of hell, letting her freely travel between realms and send other people there. She also manipulates gravity on a massive scale, capable of reversing it to send people flying into the sky, with some of them falling into floating doors leading to hell, or causing earthquakes and landslides detectable worldwide. Her gravity powers let her move at high speeds, and destroy massive areas by reversing gravity entirely, or focus on a single target for precise control. The Falling Devil adds psychological warfare to her arsenal by forcing victims to relive their worst memories, by tying their trauma to her gravitational manipulation. This ability can be resisted if a victim's brain is damaged, as Denji demonstrated by slicing up his own. With her sharp, scythe-like limbs, she's deadly in combat, capable of stopping Chainsaw Man in his tracks with only a single finger. She can also unleash a powerful beam of energy from the sky that she uses to annihilate the Justice Devil for puking up the dish she prepared. The Gun Devil represents humanity's fear of guns and firearms. Even though its full form is never shown in the manga, it's described as having a complete body, legs, feet, flesh, and bones, when it first appeared during the devastating attacks on November 18th. Like all devils, the Gun Devil has standard abilities, such as making contracts with humans in exchange for a price and possessing dead bodies to create fiends. One notable contract was with the President of the United States, who offered 1 year of life from every American citizen to summon 20% of the Gun Devil's body and use it to kill Makima. When summoned, the Gun Devil appeared as a massive humanoid figure with massive rifles for arms and a skeletal face featuring an enormous gun barrel. Despite its terrifying power, this 20% wasn't enough to take down Makima, who ultimately took it down. Afterward, the Gun Devil's remnants possessed Aki's corpse, turning him into the Gun Fiend. As the Gun Fiend, the devil had weakened powers and Aki's appearance drastically changed. His hair hung loose, dark veins covered his face, and a massive pistol sat on his head. Even in this state, the Gun Devil was still incredibly dangerous, able to fire bullets with precision, and enough power to tear through entire buildings and opponents like Denji. The Gun Devil's raw strength is insane, as it was able to kill 1.2 million people across the entire world in just 5 minutes. Its speed was so intense that chunks of its flesh burned off as it moved and scattered like bullets. These flesh pieces became a power booster for other devils who consumed them, significantly enhancing their abilities. Currently, the Gun Devil's body is fragmented and scattered worldwide. According to Makima, 20% is held by the US, 28% by the Soviet Union, 11% by China, 4% by other nations, and the remaining 37% is scattered among devils. The flesh pieces have a passive ability to rejoin and regenerate the Gun Devil's body. When active, the Gun Devil can fire bullets from its many weapon-like body parts. These bullets can target specific groups with horrifying precision, such as every adult male within 1 kilometer, or even children within 1.5 kilometers. It can also narrow the killing targets even further, by narrowing down the specific ages and even birth month. Even in its weakened fiend form, it remained devastatingly lethal. The Hell Devil represents the fear of hell itself. It usually shows up as a massive hand with 6 fingers that reaches down from a door in the sky connected to hell. With this ability, the Hell Devil can pick and send people straight to hell. The only 2 contracts with it seen so far are with Santa Claus in exchange for 3 children and one of her perfect dolls. This is where Santa got the Hell Devil's help to send everyone in a particular building to hell. And the other contract is with the anti-Makima squad, which made a deal to summon the Hell Devil physically by sacrificing their own lives. 6 of the devil hunters comprising the squad cut their own throats to summon and command it to kill Makima and drag her into hell. However, the Hell Devil didn't last long when it came up against Chainsaw Man. In his full devil form, Denji absolutely shredded the Hell Devil into pieces. The series later showed one of the devil hunters reviving the Hell Devil by feeding it blood so it could use its powers again, this time to send Chainsaw Man to hell. The War Devil, also known as Yoru, represents the fear of war and is one of the four horsemen. After getting partially devoured by Pochita and reducing her to a near-death state, Yoru later takes over Asa's body right as she's getting killed. But instead of completely taking over, Yoru lets Asa keep living, so they end up sharing the same body. Interestingly, if Yoru is in control and Asa gets scared, Yoru loses control and can't take over again until Asa calms down. Yoru has a pretty terrifying power. She can turn anything she owns into a weapon. This includes objects and even living beings like humans, devils, and fiends. At first, Yoru had to touch whatever she wanted to turn into a weapon and say the weapon's name, but over time her power grew. Now, she and Asa can create weapons without even having to touch the object, and can summon them telepathically from any distance, without saying the name out loud. The strength of the weapon depends on the amount of guilt Asa or Yoru feel about creating it. The more guilt, the more powerful the weapon becomes. For example, turning something with a strong or emotional connection would create something way stronger than, let's say, a pencil. So far, they've made melee weapons like swords and spears, as well as explosives like grenades. When Yoru turns a devil she quote owns into a weapon, she can tap into any contracts tied to that devil and use them to her advantage. She showed this off when she activated the contract the National Pistol Association made with the Gun Devil to unlock a special ability. To do this, Yoru had to sacrifice the index fingers of around 40,000 members of the National Pistol Association. After that, she transformed the Statue of Liberty into a creepy crowned creature holding a massive rifle. The rifle shoots giant bullets, shaped like severed fingers, and this creature was powerful enough to take out buildings from the other side of the planet, and even seriously hurt the Chainsaw Devil at Yoru's command. The Aging Devil is the embodiment of humanity's primal fear of aging, and the main antagonist of the current arc. As one of the Primal Fear devils, it has never experienced death. Since it represents a fear that's been around forever, it's likely been lurking around as long as humanity itself. This devil is shown having a contract with 3 public safety agents. They each cut off one of their own fingers and write the word HIT on mirrors in blood, along with the names of body parts, like cervical spine or neck, likely ones they're sacrificing. Once that's done, the Aging Devil delivers a devastatingly powerful strike to its enemy. Its powers are otherworldly. It can stop time, quite literally. During a fight with Yoru, it froze a speeding bullet from Yoru's gun goddess weapon mid-flight and destroyed the bullet before sending Yoru and Denji into its own creepy alternate realm, known as the Aging's World. This alternate reality looks like a peaceful forest with a lake, but it's actually far from peaceful. In this place, residents don't need food or water and cannot die, but they slowly lose their minds. After 1,000 or 2,000 years, if they reach some sort of answer in their madness, they turn into trees that are still flesh and blood on the inside. Devils can even eat them to heal. Only after the tree rots into the soil and fully merges with nature can the person return to their original body in the real world. And if that wasn't enough, the Aging Devil can make anything or anyone rapidly age just by touching them. We've also seen that it can attack its enemies by summoning mirrors that acts more as a window, which they can punch or travel through to the target. The Death Devil is said to be the strongest devil of Primal Fear status, representing the ultimate fear, death itself. She's also the oldest of the 4 horsemen. Way back, the horsemen got into a vicious fight with Pochita in hell, but right when things were heating up, Pochita straight up disappeared. What they didn't know was that Pochita escaped to Earth, barely clinging to life, in a drastically weakened form, which is why the Control Devil couldn't track him down despite her efforts. Over time, the younger 3 horsemen eventually made their way to the human world and went their separate ways. But as for the Death Devil, no one knows where she is or what she's up to. That said, according to Nostradamus' prophecy, she's supposed to descend to Earth in July 1999 to bring the apocalypse, wiping out humanity and starting the Age of Devils. Well, that does it for every apocalyptic devil in Chainsaw Man. I tried to pick the most powerful ones of the entire series, but of course there are many more devils that we can talk about, so let me know in the comments below if you're interested in Chainsaw Man, so we can put out a full list of every single devil next. But until then, click the video you see on your screen right now to learn about every apostle from Berserk, and we'll see you there.